Digital 410 Productions proudly presents the What's in Your Head podcast.
Digitized live from the ACT Computer Studios in Cape Coral, Florida, it's the What's in Your Head podcast with your hosts Gordon and Don Abernathy.
What's up, OG5? Goodbye, 2020. This will be our...
Not yet, man. You are jumping the gun.
I'm not jumping the gun. I was getting ready to announce this is the last episode of the What's in Your Head podcast for 2020. We're going to take the next week off for vacation. We will be back the first Monday of the new year. I don't know what day that'll fall on yet. I haven't looked at the calendar. I just decided, hey, we've been here through the duration of the year. A lot of shows and a lot of places take off for the holidays, and we've been here for the most part. I think maybe we've missed one or two shows this year. Maybe we've had two best of shows or a rerun, but for the most part, for all intents and purposes, we've been here and shared pretty much every Monday, with the exception of when we're on Sundays. But yeah, so we'll be back on January 4th, and so thank each and every one of you, every member of the OG5, for being with us here for another year. Oh, another year. That's pretty, that's saying something, man. We've been around for quite a bit.
Another trip around the sun.
Yep.
Absolutely. So,
WTSP World War II.
For some reason, when I was adjusting my camera, now I'm blurry, but whatever. Nobody needs to see me anyway. So how's your day going? How's your week been?
January 7th, 2018 was the official date of our first episode back when we were the... Waterman and Dietrich. Actually, it was the Dave and Dave show or whatever. But for those of you OG5 members who also listen to the What's the Scuttlebutt podcast, the What's the Scuttlebutt podcast logo is a WTSP and military stencil. And below that, it says US 010718. A little insider. That serial number is simply United States, January 7th, 2018. That was the date of the very first episode of this podcast and that podcast because, well, we did them on the same night. So there's a little inside baseball for you, and it wouldn't be an episode of the What's in Your Head podcast if Morgan Long, the mayor of the Patreon, the head of the OG5.
He's the mayor of the OG5.
He is the king OG of the OG5. So thank you, Morgan, for all you've done and all your support. So how's your week been, fella?
It's been good. As you can tell, I've kind of redone some things in the house. So we got a 3-bedroom house, and we feel like we were running out of room. Mm-hmm. Some hot dad talk here going on. And
well, you guys made the first-time home buyers fatal mistake when it came to laying out your house, which is you're like all the people on any of the those shows you see where they're out buying houses and, oh, we love to entertain. Oh, this would be a great place to have a guest bedroom, and we need all the space for entertaining. It's like, who the hell are you guys constantly entertaining that you need all this room? But you guys kind of did that. You dedicated an entire branch of your house to a guest bedroom, which is fine if you have lots of guests. You know, you have people in town who occupy that space more often than not. But as you found out after, 3.5, 4 years, that,
we're going on 6.
After 6 years, that room's been occupied 3 times.
And let's just add to that. We were in the condo for 8 years, so we had the same thing going on there.
Yeah, so for 8 years in a condo, you basically wasted a bedroom. And for, you're kind of wasting one now. And so you finally realize, hey, this is kind of dumb. So why don't we reconfigure the space? We'll get a hide-a-bed, a Murphy bed, or a futon.
Air mattress,
a potato sack, maybe a wool blanket, and a bale of square hay. Something we can turn into a bed if it so calls for it. But now you have a child in the house, and so you need all the room that you can get.
Yes. Little Oliver. I had to pull up the first rug today. He's done really good at not crapping up the house. He's not done that but the first day. He actually, today is like the 3rd or 4th time he's hit the bell with his nose.
Good.
And the boy will be 4 months old on Christmas. So I think that's pretty good. Now, peeing is a little bit of a different story, and he likes the carpet. So there's one spot right in front of his crate that he likes to, and it's not a big pee. It's usually just a little squirt. and he doesn't quite squat all the way nor lift his leg.
And that's a carpeted area, or is it a throw rug?
It is. It was a throw rug. So it's all throw rugs downstairs. It's tile floor. So we pulled that one up. We're probably going to pull up the wool, because wool's kind of, I fuck with wool.
Yeah.
The wool rug that's under the table, we'll probably pull that up tonight too. Said, hey, this is only going to be for a few months till he has got his shit together.
Who is that cat that ironically does the cat show that you told Gary Bone he looks like?
Jackson Galaxy.
You need to get some of the Jackson Galaxy pet stain removal. You know, it's a throw rug. That'll help neutralize that smell. It works so much better on dog urine than it does cat urine, obviously.
He came with a bottle of stuff called Elimination.
Sure.
And it seems to work, but I think we can't smell it. Him, on the other hand, can.
You know, we inadvertently segued into hot poop talk here on the What's in Your Head podcast. And
I was hot piss talk.
And I have a note. One thing you haven't realized yet, because you're a first-time dog owner in your adult life, that I have noticed, and he will, if you allow him to, when he gets to the age, you have, in fact, invested into what I affectionately call the bathroom sentry. A dog's instinct is to guard the other members of their packs when they're vulnerable, i.e. while you're pooping. Oh, yeah. And so Bailey will do that. Anytime I go in the bathroom, whether I'm bathing or using the water closet, she will sit out there right by the door. Even if I go in there to urinate, she will follow me in there and sit there and look out the door and like watch my six while my back is turned to the door. And it was funny, before the podcast, I went to use the bathroom next door, which is Nuggets, which is their standard bathroom with standard door. And so I shut the door to urinate, and then I hear scratch, scratch, scratch. So I had to let her in so she can come take her post. So then she sat in front of the bathtub staring at the door until I was done doing my business.
Well, what's kind of funny is our cat's been doing that forever.
Yeah.
And he's not full on into it yet, although he does come in, but he tries to get in my lap. I try to climb up into my underwear, and it's kind of funny. But I'm thinking, well, I guess I stare at you crapping. So
Bailey did that too. She would, when your pants is around your ankle, she would crawl into the underwear. Well, and that's why dogs, when they go outside, that's why their ass is always facing you, because they're expecting you to watch their vulnerable side while they're looking the other direction for potential alpha animals. That's why they face your ass to you whenever they're outside. Merry Christmas, John Kraft.
He's actually pretty good at facing me with his face.
Well, he'll learn.
Outside. But he'll learn, and I'll get the...
Morgan Long wants to know an update on your weight loss.
30 pounds.
Good job.
Where we're at now. I have slipped the last week or two a little bit. I'm still about 70% compliance. But it is the holidays. Once we get to the 1st, we will go back in full bore. But yeah, 30 pounds, man. That's where we're at right now. I need to do that about 2 more times, and I'll be good to go. It sounds like a lot of weight.
It is a lot of weight, but you know, it's fucking awesome is what it is. I mean, a lot of people, you know, and it's almost that time of year. You and I both had a gym membership long enough that we know every year between January until the end of February, the gym will be packed with the New Year, New Me people, which is kind of good because you really want people to follow through with their desire to get a better physique or lose weight or get healthy or whatever it is. So the downside is the gym's usually packed and you can't really move around. And so once the New Year, New Me people leave, you'll have a few of the people who stay on, which is cool, but a majority of them will fall off. And that's why I recommend, if you do come up with that plan, you don't have to do it for the duration. Maybe test it out. Test the waters out at Planet Fitness. And then if you make it to March or April, then you can segue over. Maybe if you need a LA Fitness, something with a pool, some of the more amenities. But the Planet Fitness is a good way to start because, 1, there's no contract, and 2, it's $10 a month. So don't go out and say, hey, I'm going to get healthy this year and sign a $130 a year pay up front contract that you can't get out of. Go do the $10 a month thing, and if it works, like I said, if you make it there till March and you find it it's good, but it's not to the level of the equipment you need, then move on to one of the bigger facilities. But don't go out and drop $200-$300 on a place.
And that's what's interesting. I've actually had a gym membership the whole time I've lived in this town. Mm-hmm. It's a place called LVAC, or the Las Vegas Athletic Club, and it's a big one. What's interesting is because of the COVID, they actually pushed our renewal date off by 3 or 4 months. So it was due in November. Now it's in February. The only thing that's kind of the sticking point right now is with everything going on, you actually have to make a reservation.
Really?
The gym, yes.
I will say Planet Fitness, when COVID started, they basically, I see a cat. We've had the dog on the show, never had the cat on the show. Anyhow, Planet Fitness did suspend their monthly payment, so we got like 4 months off. And then once everything was back up full time, but they never fully closed. Yeah, I just see a cat.
I didn't even see her until I looked at the
Yeah, she was just peeking up at us.
Sabrina. So Sabrina's getting better. She's basically up here in the penthouse. She does not want to go downstairs, so we've pulled all her stuff up here.
Yeah. Bebop's laying down.
He's not angry.
Bebop's laying down right in front of the desk.
There you go. He's downstairs with Katina right now.
Maybe if she becomes a permanent fixture during this and she finds a place that she likes to lay, maybe we'll...
Oh, I've got it. There's a little cube, a little ottoman sitting right here to the right of me.
Maybe I'll install a camera. We can have our pet cams up in the corner where the dogs just lay there the entire time.
I haven't been giving her enough attention the last few weeks.
Have you been watching a lot of TV lately?
I have been watching... Now, you mean network or just TV in general?
Anything with a commercial break, whether it's DVR, on demand, anything that forces you to watch commercials that you may see a Burger King commercial.
Yeah, actually I have.
The Christmas commercial?
For Burger King?
Yeah. The new one?
I have not seen that one, no.
Okay. First and foremost, let me get this out of the way. Oh, I got to click on the right soundboard.
Hi, my name is Tom McDonald. Welcome to the show. If you are
easily offended, then you probably should go. Okay. If you're 40, between 35 and up, this will not be a surprise to you at all. You'll probably know exactly what I'm talking about. But first and foremost, let's just start with the new Burger King commercial.
I work at Burger King, making from a Whopper. They are 2 for $5 this holiday.
Share the joy this holiday with the Whopper and the 2 for $5 deal. Your way better.
Morgan Long beat me to the punch. Don't look at the channel, Gordon. Does that sound familiar to you at all? Does any of that sound familiar to you at all?
Da 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 da. Now there was there's a skit.
Hurt someone.
Family Guy?
No, Family Guy copied the original.
No.
Yes,
I was going to go to the second half with Carlos Mencia.
They may be mentally ill. Find out how you can help. Write Better Mental Health, Box 3000, New York 1, New York.
Now, if you guys are downloading, sharing music, some may say illegally in the early 2000s, you'd get this, what we would affectionately refer to as a stowaway that would pop up. And I'm sure you guys, once again, if you're 35 and older, remember this. I
work at Burger King making flavor Whoppers. I wear paper hats. Would you like an apple pie with that? Would you like an apple pie with that? Ding by the done, ding by the done, ding by the done, ding by the done. I gotta run, I gotta run, I gotta run, I gotta run. Don't buffer fries and hot fat and really hurt bad and so the skin grabs. Would you like an apple pie with that? Would you like an apple pie with that? Where is the bell? Wait for the bell. Can't hear the bell. Where is the bell? Ding by the done, ding by the done, ding by the done, ding by the done. I work at Burger King making flavor Whoppers. I wear paper hats. Would you like an apple pie with that? Would you like an apple pie with that? Ding by the done, ding by the done, ding by the done. Ding by the done.
Now, I did a deep dive on this because I was pointing this out to Carrie, and I said, look, it's 2020. Now, I'm not easily offended, but in a time where everybody's getting canceled for everything, now you can't say the R word. Isn't it
Wait. Retard?
Exactly. Isn't it a little risky for Burger King to create a commercial based off of a song, a parody song where someone was clearly imitating someone with special needs, or as you said, a retard back in the day is what we, and she's like, well, maybe that's been around longer. And so I did a deep dive on this. That song made its rounds, and I wouldn't be surprised if it started out on like a morning radio show or something. I've seen all the way going back to 1993.
Okay.
Family Guy did it in 2006. Now, Burger King may say, hey, we never heard the original version. Maybe we only know the Family Guy version.
Ding, fries are done. Ding, fries are done. Ding, fries are done. Ding, fries are done. I gotta run. I gotta run. I gotta run. I gotta run. I work at Burger King making flamboyant Whoppers. I wear paper hats. Would you like an apple pie with that? Would you like an apple pie with that? Ding, fries are done. Ding, fries are done. Ding, fries are done. Ding, fries are done. I gotta run. I gotta run. I gotta run. I gotta run. Don't touch the fries in hot fat. It really hurts bad, and so do skin grafts. Would you like an apple pie with that?
Now, the Family Guy version's shorter. But I was like, who did this song originally? And so I started going down the Google wormhole. And Lyric Box, it's one of those song lyric pages. They're claiming it's Adam Sandler, which I don't buy. It don't sound like Adam Sandler. And that would have been easily, everybody knowing that was Adam Sandler. Maybe it was something he did on a demo tape back in Jerky Boy days, and it just got handed around. But STYlyrics.com says it's a guy, not Space Ghost as in Space Ghost Coast to Coast, but somebody called Ghost Space. Once again, I wouldn't be surprised if this went around in the radio days. But once again, now if you listen to the Burger King song, at the end, they say ding, fries are done. So they are clearly, yes, they changed the lyrics to I work at Burger King making Flamboy Whopper, now 2 for $5. And would you like a side of fries or some crap? But at the very end, you actually hear him say, here, ding, fries are done.
I'm actually looking up, and because I seen Carlos Mencia do it, and he's actually been credited also. And there's one part of people, and you're absolutely right. It's pre both them and Family Guy, but they're saying, "Oh, it's not Carlos Mencia. It's actually Family Guy." And as we know,
2006 to 1993. And plus, if you look at the Family Guy bit, Peter is dressed up exactly like the YouTube GIF that someone put out in the early 2000s. And so if you Google Ding Fries Are Done, it's just a stationary photo of a handicapped guy working at Burger King, and it's the mouth that moves. And so Family Guy clearly copied that because it's the exact same uniform and everything. But the fact
by a gentleman named Robert Lund.
See, but is that true?
What is it?
Yeah, we don't know. But isn't it kind of... Now, maybe we should give Burger King a pat on the back and saying, hey, good for you for not being afraid of getting canceled for using a song that was made popular, at least by us 35 to 40-year-olds, of basically someone pretending to be handicapped doing that song.
Here we go.
I work at Burger King making flavor Whoppers. I wear paper hats. Would you like an apple pie with that? Would you like an apple pie with that? Ding, fries are done. Ding, fries are done. Ding, fries are done. Ding, fries are done. I gotta run. I gotta run. I gotta run. I gotta run. Don't buffer fries in hot fat. It really hurt bad, and so do skin grabs. Would you like an apple pie with that? Would you like an apple pie with that? Where is the bell? Wait for the bell. Can't hear the bell. Where is the bell?
No, I added the end of the Burger King, so listen to the last part.
I work at Burger King making flavor Whoppers. I wear paper hats. Would you like an apple pie with that? Would you like an apple pie with that? Ding, fries are done. Ding, fries are done. Ding, fries are done.
Share the joy this holiday with the Whopper and the 2 for $5 deal. Your way better.
So they do actually say ding, fries are done in the burger. And then my question is, who do they pay the royalties to?
That's a good question. So I'm seeing two things here. One is actually Fries Are Done, or Ding Fries Are Done, first aired on Dr. Demento
in the 80s.
Parody of the orchestral composition Carol of the Bells. It adds the words of making fries at Burger King. Before the internet, people had to use mail to send things to each other. So Ding Fries Are Done, it sounds like it's written by Robert Lund.
And did Burger King pay him? Because they used the very first line, I work at Burger King making flame-boiled Whoppers, but they took out that paper hat, but they say the ding fries are done at the end. So clearly it's his work.
It's performed, okay, at least he performed it from the CD Elves Gone Wild.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's ambiguous at best.
But isn't that risky, though? I mean, people are getting canceled for everything now, and, ironically, I posted a picture of me tweeting on Twitter that, half the world's problems would be resolved if we stopped giving Twitter so much clout. But I don't know. I guess good for you, Burger King. Way to make a stand. But when like Morgan Long and John Kraftbush said, when I heard that, I looked at Carrie, and she didn't have a reference to the song. But I remember...
Oh, boy, did you do.
But
How many
I
variants
couldn't
of it
get out
did
of my
you play
goddamn
for?
head. And like I said, I started going down trying to Google it and trying to figure out, where it came from and who wrote it. But yeah, it's like, okay, Burger King, did you pay them royalties? And if so, then you kind of are admitting that, well, you're using that song based off of what would in 2020 be considered very insulting to people of a certain demographic. So good for you, I guess. I mean, you definitely won the Tom McDonald Award of the Year.
Hi, my name is Tom McDonald. Welcome to the show. If you are easily offended, then you probably should go.
I want to say hi to you guys on Periscope. Periscope's always there for us, but as we know, Periscope actually, you may not know. You know what the first
Periscope.
live stream service was?
Periscope?
No.
The only reason I went there is because you were talking about Periscope.
Periscope came out second. And
Submarine? Would it be Submarine?
no, it was Meerkat, because Meerkat's poke up and look around. So there was a Linux-based software for Androids called Meerkat, and that was the first one. And then Twitter partnered up with Periscope, but Periscope's a third-party entity, but they did share their streams onto Twitter.
Yeah.
So when I went on today on the periscope.tv to check to see our viewer numbers for last week, and that on the website and the app both, Periscope, the independent service, is going away as of March 21st, 2021, and they're being enveloped directly into Twitter, much like Facebook has a
yay.
live stream, Instagram has a live stream, and YouTube has a live stream. So Twitter...
So they're getting swooped into that oligarchy of big tech.
Yeah, so Twitter, in order to stay relevant, they need their own in-app streaming service instead of people going to a third-party app and then sending the stream to Twitter. So Periscope is now being included. Whether they'll drop the name or they'll probably keep the name, I would assume. It would probably be Twitter's Periscope, something along those lines. But to all you diehard Periscope users, I don't know if you guys are excited that you're going to be included and primarily in the proverbial toilet of the internet known as Twitter. But thank you guys anyhow for joining us each week. And a shout out to you guys over on YouTube as well for hanging out with us each week.
So I have a plug.
I got a couple of them. I
called
got
you-
UPS.
I called you a couple of weeks ago and said I've done something horrible.
Mm-hmm.
I've washed my Raycons in
Dumbass.
the capsule and all.
How did you...
Well, it was one of those things. I was working in the yard and I had them in, which they kept popping out for some fucking reason.
I covered that in my first YouTube video.
Yeah, I know. I keep upsizing and they fly out.
Well, the texture after a while, they come with like a little bit of texture on them, kind of like a basketball or football. Once that smooth out.
Yep.
So what I do is when I run or work out, I wear a headband. I pull them down over my ears like I'm cold, but that keeps them from popping out.
But needless to say, I was wrapping everything up and I said, here, Katina, take these and put them on the table. And then some reason I had haphazardly walked in, saw them on the table, stuck them in the pocket of my sweatshirt, which I was promptly changing to go wash. Well, good news. They still work.
Did you give it the old rice bath, did you?
Oh, I gave it the rice bath. They work. Now, the only thing not working is the button on the right headset.
Oh, that's the skip track button.
That's fine. I mainly listen to podcasts anyway. So
The left button's pause. I haven't figured out the volume control, but the right
you
button.
got to hold down on it.
I know if you double tap the
volume
right,
control.
it skips the track, and if you single tap the left, it pauses.
Yep. But for the most part,
So wait a minute, you got to hold it down
They're
like you
working.
push it into your ear canal to turn it down.
yeah. So the most part now, I'm sure it's going to shorten the life
Yeah.
of them. But at this point, because I got my eye on it, their new Raycons, it actually has a little stem on it so you have a mic. Because they don't have a mic in it. They do pick up off your phone.
That's fine.
But no, they're doing good. So, hey, Raycon, like your product. Yeah, I know it's not waterproof.
Well,
but
it says right in the package that it's poolside. It's a poolside ready, but not swimming ready. So they basically say, yeah, you can wear it by the
yeah,
pool.
it even says about sweat too. Be careful and not sweat in them too much.
Okay,
So,
we're going to get real gross and real personal, but that's what we're going to do here on the What's in Your Head podcast.
I don't know what's in your head.
Earwax.
Oh, well, I keep my ears pretty clean.
What you will discover, and this is gross, but if you're
I've
like me,
discovered it before. I know where you're going.
if you have an earwax problem, you may notice one day that your Raycon has no sound coming out of it, or it's super low. If you take like the perfect weapon for this, and I can't believe but hey, I'm open and honest.
All right, expose
Take
your,
the plastic-
your earwax
take the tip of a plastic tip dart, and it'll poke the screen right out, and you just rub it in your finger like you're rolling up a booger, and it'll get the earwax. And the funny thing is, as soon as you pop it out,
pop it in your mouth, right?
As soon as you pop it out, you'll hear music coming out of it because it'll be on. You're like, why is this a new word? As soon as you pop that screen out, it's like, la 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 la. So you have
you let your ears build up that much wax?
Well, see, the problem is I only wear.
I over clean my ears. I get the eargasm thing going on.
Yeah, but I ran 550 miles last year, so I'm running 3 to 4 times a week, and they're full of sweat. And once again, but yes, one of my body functions is I get bad earwax, even though I illegally use Q-tips. You're not supposed to use Q-tips for that, but anyhow, I do clean out my ears regularly. But because I run so much and sweat, and I only use them while working out, I don't use them for anything else other than working out. Yeah, so if you find that the volume's getting conspicuously low on your earbuds,
check it for ear funk, huh?
Pop the screen out, rub it between your fingers, get the wax off the screen, pop it back in, and your sound is a pound. You're ready to go. You're good to go.
Hey, quick impromptu poll.
Oh, speaking of polls, go ahead.
Quick impromptu poll for anybody who's listening. Please send us an email or a message on the Facebook page. How many people use their Q-tips illegally? Getting them too far in.
When did they become illegal? I want to say early 90s.
I think in your early 90s, yeah.
Because now if you look at a Q-tip, their express purpose is for cleaning electronics and applying makeup, nothing more, nothing less. They say
I haven't read that. I just hear don't stick it in your ear.
Yeah, if you look at the back,
first place that motherfucker goes. They're up the nose.
The standard operating procedure for a Q-tip. Or I remember a long time ago there was like this bad MTV nighttime show. I think it was like the son of a producer got a show, and it was when Wu-Tang Clan first came out, and he had Old Dirty Bastard and Ghostface Killer on the show. And somewhere he must have been like down in like Chinatown in New York, he found a box of generic Q-tips. They're called W-tips, and he was giving away a box of W-tips on the show. So whether you're using Q-tips or W-tips, as Gordon said, you're not legally allowed to use them in your ear because, well, they don't want to be liable for your eardrum damage from going too far in.
And if you're going to go fish a booger out, don't stick the one that was in your ear first.
Don't do a home COVID test.
Yeah, but you'll smell the wax. That's how I know.
So I posted a photo. I was standing in Publix the other day. I'm trying to find it.
Okay.
And I was looking at the magazine rack. And
say that again.
I was looking at the
You went all Boomhauer on me.
I was looking at the magazine rack. And I was getting ready to pick up a Handgunner magazine, which I used to browse, but with COVID, I decided I better not. And I got to think, I used to buy these. But it's been about 6 or 7 years. I actually used to buy them when I first got my XD 9mm. So that was, 10 years ago, 11 years ago? Mm-hmm. And I haven't bought one since. And so I put up a picture. It said, survey, when's the last time you bought a magazine and what was it? And we got quite a few comments. I got to go over 2 different pages here. I'll read the comments off the What's in Your Head podcast page. Hold on, I got to go to most relevant, show all. Okay. Beckett Football Price Guide was written on the What's in Your Head podcast. Now, the original post was on my D-Train page, and so I got to go over there to see all the other ones, because I actually got a lot of comments on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and it's interesting. A lot of people, it has been quite a few years to the point that I'm surprised there's even a magazine market still out there. 28 comments on the D-Train page. Most relevant, show all, because I want to see all of them. Let's see here. I have 2 subscriptions because they were $5 a year and COVID boredom, but she didn't say what they were. Before the internet, I bought Hustler magazine. That was Jason. Johnny Gomez said Dirt Wheel probably 10 years ago, if not more, entertainment and info. Jared said Mad Magazine just got a subscription, so Mad Magazine's sticking strong. Occasional Johnny Gomez came back again. Well, I bought the occasional Playboy when they were still around. Then I said about 5 years ago, I used to buy fire magazines. We just went over. Nathan said 4 or 5 years ago, an issue of Car and Driver. Here's an interesting. Brandon Davis used to read Ride BMX. I'm not familiar with that one. You and I also said you and I had a subscription to Thrasher magazine in the 90s. And
Trans World Snowboarding.
I was going to say, you used to buy Trans World magazines all the time. Nick Tullock said last time he bought one was Guns and Ammo.
Pew pew.
Isaac said limited version of Rolling Stone copy of Eddie Van Halen, which just came out, obviously. Eric said probably trucking or mini trucking or maybe fast Fords and Mustangs of 2002. Mountain biking.
Mountain bike action.
Yep. Probably 10 years ago, Four Wheeler and Four Wheel magazine. 3 weeks ago, PM Mag 30 rounds. Wrong magazine, cowboy, but I like where your head's at. No magazines, crossword books. Farmer's Almanac.
Okay, nerd.
Farmer's Almanac last month. Super Chevy, it's been a while. Car and Driver, Lowrider Magazine, and Android Magazine back in 2012. And then we have apparently long gone are the days of High Times. Now it's Weed Magazine and Marijuana Magazine. And then
Remember Blunt Magazine and Big Brother?
FHM.
FHM.
Stuff Magazine, which were basically the same magazine, just different publishers.
So, the last...
But it's amazing
Two
that...
reasons I quit buying magazines, and it's probably been 4 or 5 years. Number one, they got up over $8.
Yes.
And number two, when I no longer needed anything to read on the toilet because I've got a phone.
Then I posted today, I forgot a few years ago, I bought a stack of Life magazine from the 40s, but I don't know.
That doesn't count.
Well, they're magazines, but no.
That's your whole LARPing thing you got going on.
Well, the last magazine, I don't know if it's considered a magazine. It's more like one of those annuals. I bought Victory in Japan Lifetime Time magazine, National Geographic, whatever. It's one of those $15 books, but that's not really a magazine per se. But yeah, it's kind of surprising that there's even a magazine industry left. I mean, who's reading?
What did you do? Like, if you got a good magazine, one of my favorites was actually the Snowboard Journal, and it was like the National Geographic of snowboarding magazine. So it was fantastic photography. And of course, where did those pictures go? On the walls.
Instagram. Yeah.
Kids can't even put magazine pictures on the walls anymore. And that was a big part of our teens and early 20s.
You know what else we used to do? Before MTV started their whole take the CD out of the box and leave it at the store, let them throw your trash away. For you kids who see the occasional CD, you'll see it in that weird long plastic ring. And the reason it's long and tall is so it stands up, because back when CDs came out, the music stores didn't want to redo the entire store, so they had all these record racks. And the CD, you couldn't see over the wall on the record rack. So originally, the CDs were in long, tall boxes. They were in a box that was tall enough to get the title over the depth of the bay of the record rack. And you would have these foot-long by 5 inches cardboard sleeves that were full colored. Mm-hmm. It was like basically the box was the same as the album cover, and you and I used to cut those open and make posters out of them and stick them on our wall.
Absolutely.
And I remember when I walked into this is after you graduated high school, and I was in high school. When you walked into my room, you'd open the door and there's kind of a half a wall, because that wall was Dad's closet. So so there's a little, think of it like a half of a phone booth, right? You had 3 walls. You had the door, a wall, and then the wall. So that little corner, I did ceiling the floor with CD boxes and magazine cutouts. So that whole little indent, the walk into my bedroom, was completely plastered with magazines and CD box covers.
Oh, the things of yore.
Yeah, nowadays kids are just putting LED lights on their rooms.
Yep, we used to get like the Iowa stereos and get the speakers spread out amongst the room, have the wires running up and over, and little hillbilly engineering going in on that just for the best sound you can get. And I used to use that. I had my Iowa stereo. That was my alarm clock.
Yeah, and
especially in Big Sky, because I would get up about 5:30 in the morning, and I lived in a place, as you know, that was extremely loud. So guess who got to wake up the whole fucking place when they're finally going to sleep? Yeah,
and you had a roommate at the time who had a fancy for James Brown, so he played a lot of James Brown. Well, the interesting thing about those speakers is they weren't quite surround sound. They were 2 bookshelf speakers and 2 satellite speakers. There were no center channel yet because that was too expensive. And so you had kind of a quadraphonics thing, but the satellites had no real bass tone. They were more just mids and highs, and then your bookshelf had your mids and lows. And then, of course, as we all turned 18, 19, 20s, we got our Dolby Pro Logic systems, and then Dolby Digital. And now everybody's got flat screen TVs with simulated surround sound soundbars.
And I tell you what,
they do a good job.
They do a good effing job, especially if you got a nice Bluetooth subwoofer you can hide somewhere.
Yeah, not to get too much into the audio video stuff, but for you guys who have your subwoofer that's wireless sitting next to your TV, Bass is non-directional.
Put that shit in a corner.
Put that shit under your bed. If it's in your bedroom, tuck it behind a freaking piece of furniture, tuck it behind the TV. You don't need to see it. Bass is non-directional. So if you're lucky enough to have one that doesn't have the stupid 23 gauge wire running through the center channel, put that shit in the back of the room. Get it out of the way.
And seriously, put it in a corner. It's like isobarically loading it at that point. Then you
it
can
bounces
really
off the
get
walls.
some bounce going.
But yeah, it's so crazy. I cannot tell you how many miles of wire with all the times I moved with my ProLogic systems and my Dolby Digital systems. And for you young kids, the difference between ProLogic and Dolby Digital, the rear speakers were in mono on ProLogic. So whatever came out of the right came out of the left. The front two satellites were stereo. The center channel was a single channel, but the two rears were mono. Dolby Digital's when it got all of them were surround sound and independent, and that's when you could hear bullets flying in all direction. But now all that's gone. It's all simulated surround sound soundbars. But if you have a flat screen TV in your bedroom or your TV in your living room and you don't have a sound bar at all, you got to step it up and get one with a subwoofer.
Speaking of audio, so Klipsch is a very well-known company for having very high-end. Now they're selling them at Walmart, which means they must have sold and have been cheapened up like Kenwood and everything else.
Well, yes, they had to sell out and lower the price point in order to meet Walmart standards. I'm wondering if
a different company owns them. I'm going to look them up.
I don't know. Here's what I'm going to say, because keep in mind, you can get that same GoPro Hero 7 at Walmart for $400. So just because it's at Walmart doesn't mean they don't meet the universal prices. But kind of going back to our magazine sales, Klipsch was a mail order and stereophonic magazine order. That was for true audiophiles. Only places you can get a Klipsch receiver back in the day, you had to go to like a higher end rate. You couldn't get that at, well, you get it at some of the circuit cities, but for a while, that was like high-end audiophile stuff. And then
all right, hold on. I want to just shit on everything. January the 6th, 2011, AudioVox announced the company had signed a term sheet to purchase the shares of Klipsch Group, Inc. The sale was completed back then. So AudioVox was all over those kinds of stores at one point in time.
Well, and what I was getting to is now that Circuit City, gone. Most of your audiophile stores are gone. You're stuck with Best Buy, Target, and Walmart. There's more Walmarts out there than there are Best Buys and Targets. And yes, so if you're going to get your product into the retail space, it's going to have to go to Walmart.
Well, it's just like Harman Kardon and JBL is actually now owned by Samsung.
Didn't you tell me my AKC microphones are?
That's the same thing. Yep.
And
that's actually what my Samsung phones were coming with was AKG headphones, and they're actually pretty good.
You know who you still can't beat, which they don't even give them away anymore? And I'm an LG guy. For the longest time, you could not beat the free Samsung wired earbuds that came with the Galaxy phones. Those things had the best bass response. To be honest with you, they're still better than the wireless ones because the wireless they kind of got to give up on something to maintain that battery life. And so I would still say you put a Samsung wired earbud in your left ear, put your Raycon in your right, and that wired earbud will have a better bass response to it.
And better overall sound. And that's what I think the AKG earbuds that they come with now just kind of replaced, So, because at first I had to look it up when I first got them. I was like, what the fuck is this company?
Skull Candy's good too, but they came out hot and they kind of came out as
they were huge in the snowboard market.
Yeah, I was going to say they were smart and this is where we fail as the OG5. We need to make this a lifestyle brand, and that's the key phrase, because Skull Candy was, yes, they were headphones, but they were a lifestyle brand. They went after a certain market at first. They got their feet wet in the snowboarding market. And for the late 90s, early 2000s, the only people even knew who Skull Candy were snowboarders. And then they wanted to widen their market share, and they went after the gaming community, and now you can get those at Target and Walmart as well. You can find them everywhere. But they are a good medium range because the wireless Skull Candy earphones are half the price of the Raycons.
And Raycons are fairly affordable, so
they're about $70. Skull Candies, don't ask me how I know, are $29.99 at Target.
Wow, they really came down in price.
I'm sure they have a higher brand out there, but everybody's got to have an entry level. A little PSA for you kids out there making your ramen noodles.
PSA time.
You can't really tell, but like all the scars are definitely prominent on my hand right now. Because, well, oh, you can kind of see that one.
Jesus fucking Christ, Skeletor fingers.
I was making ramen noodles the other day,
Okay.
and we got these new porcelain bowls that are kind of shallowish. They're not straight up. They're not quite a salad bowl. But anyhow, I was in a hurry.
Like a noodle bowl that you get at an Asian restaurant. No, those are. I guess two-sided.
Yeah, they're not straight up and down like cereal, like a standard round bowl. They kind of flare out a little bit. Anyhow, I made an entire pot of ramen noodles Saturday for lunch. Just got home from work. I was in a hurry. Wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. I had said bowl in my hand over the sink.
Yeah.
Porcelain bowl.
Gets fucking hot.
Poured the ramen noodles into said porcelain bowl. The water quickly went in and out and over my hand. So I basically poured an entire pot fresh off the stove of ramen noodle water.
Hey, you want to see a ramen noodle wave pool?
Playing Xbox that night was fun because my thumb hurt like hell. The very next morning right here, you can kind of see I got some blisters that popped. But the rest of it it really brought out all the scars on my fingers. They're like all bright red. And I have forgotten how many scars I acquired while building ambulances for Horton and sticking my hand into crevices on aluminum bodies.
Oh, there you are. I hadn't seen you in a while.
Yeah, I forgot how fucked up my hands are. But yeah, all the scars inside my fingers are like bright pink right now because, well, kids, don't pour hot water straight out of the pot off the stove. I tried to see what degree burn I have. It's not a second degree burn because I Googled that shit. Degree. Don't Google that. But when I Googled first degree, some of it showed pictures of a common sunburn, and then some of them have more extreme blisters. So I'm going to say I'm between a 1.5 and 1 3/4 on my finger where the blisters were. But the rest of me is a light 1. But yeah, that fucking sucked. So don't do that. Use a spaghetti spoon or something when you're getting your noodles out of your ramen noodle pot. And then, I did after about 3.5 hours of that. I had clothes sitting in my dryer for 3 days because, well, I've been busy. And I put it on wrinkle release.
Yep. Yeah, and they're still soggy when you pull them out?
No, they're nice and warm. But my hamper had dirty clothes in it. My clothes basket did. So
Ew.
Why bother that? So I took my freshly burnt hand and stuck it in the dryer and picked up all these hot clothes. And when you freshly burn your hand, it's super sensitive to heat. Go figure. And so, ow, ow, ow. So I just completely beat the shit out of my left hand. Good thing it's my left hand.
Quick ramen noodle recipe.
Okay.
So you cook your ramen noodles. Drain all the water off.
Okay.
Let the noodles just hang out in a colander in the sink. Then you take your
is that the same thing as a sieve?
Yeah, pretty much. Then you take some milk, you take some of that nice Kerrygold butter, and then you put the sauce, put the packets in there, the stuff that's bad for you, and you mix it up and you get it heated. And then you add a little cheddar cheese.
You mean the pack of sodium with a side of chicken broth?
Exactly, but then you add some cheddar cheese and you whip that son of a bitch up, get it all nice and melty. Then you throw your noodles in it. That is like Katina's favorite dish, and it was the dish I created out of being poor.
Not that poor if you can afford Kerrygold butter at $5 a tub and
no,
cheese.
No, back in the day it was fucking Blue Bonnet and it was
Country Crock.
Not even Velveeta.
You turn ramen noodles into a bougie treat.
Nothing bougie about me, man.
After I moved off of the hilltop and I moved to California and I started making a little bit of money, I would say there was probably a good 5-year run where I wouldn't touch a ramen noodle because I had consumed so much of it in my early adult years of being poor that I just could not go down the ramen noodle trail. And I'm still the same way. God, when was Hurricane?
You know what I can't eat? Spam.
It depends how hungry you are.
I get a retch in the back of my throat when I think spam.
I can't eat spam here in my house, but if I'm out at a World War II reenactment and I've been up since 5 a.m. and I've been humping around 50 pounds of gear all day, I can.
And you're a little drunk.
That too. I have and will continue to consume some spam. I haven't had a Pop-Tart since the week of February 14th of 2017.
He's got this shit in his calendar.
Well, because Pop-Tart is hurricane food.
So do you got your hurricane food stores where you got a bunch of Pop-Tarts and shit saved for the next one?
Pop-Tarts and beer are one of the widely most things sold during hurricane time.
Mm-hmm.
And because one, they're plentiful. Two, you don't need refrigerator storms when your power goes out. You really don't need
a refrigerator, or do you drink warm beer?
Well, you can always get ice, fella. But anyhow, I don't know. Those are just the stats. True alcoholics will drink warm beer. They don't give a fuck.
And usually if it's been sitting there half a day.
But yeah, Carrie and I both, we get triggered at looking at 16 days and no power, no water. We get triggered looking at Pop-Tarts. So we don't buy them. And I haven't had one since power was restored after Hurricane Irma back in 2017. So it's been that long since I've had a Pop-Tart.
Yeah. Hey,
no.
I think you were talking to me earlier about homeless people.
Well, not homeless people. This is a different level.
The
pandemic. No, the pandemic panhandlers.
Pandemic panhandlers. Okay, I apologize to all pandemic panhandlers for automatically assuming you're homeless.
John Kraft said, take that same recipe and add some smashed up hard-boiled eggs to it, and you're good to go.
Oh, there you go.
That's almost like a poor man's egg casserole.
Actually, you know what? If
put
you
some
go to
tuna
a real
in
ramen
that.
restaurant, if you go to a real ramen restaurant, they do put eggs in it.
Put some tuna in that, and you got yourself some tuna casserole. Put it in the oven. Good to go. Instead of the egg noodles, you use ramen.
This is what we call a Tokyo tuna casserole.
A little mayonnaise, ramen noodles, some tuna, some eggs.
And if you throw Spam in it, it'll be a Hawaiian tuna casserole.
And they got to add pineapple on top of that. But yes, the pandemic panhandlers. These are the cats who may have been struggling before COVID, maybe working.
The ones are barely hanging on with their teeth.
Paycheck to paycheck. They're barely making
and the
rent.
economy is fantastic at this time, right?
They're barely making the rent, or maybe they had a good job. Maybe they had good jobs if they're paying for the kids to go to college. Maybe their young kid got in an accident. And they spent their life savings bailing them out of jail, getting them off a felony. I know some people who's been down that road, but anyhow, these are the people who have lost their jobs because of fucking COVID, and they've made it 9 months, but now Christmas is here. Money's not coming in. In the last 2 weeks, I'd say, driving through Cape Coral and Fort Myers and North Fort Myers, you come to any four-way intersection that has two main thoroughfares of 3 lanes or more crossing. At every single sidewalk, there is somebody who's clean clothes, regularly bathed, but holding signs up. Out of work, need money, will work, need opportunity. Some of them are just straight homeless, need food. But it has quadrupled. I have never seen this many people panhandling on the streets.
I know this doesn't happen in Florida like it happens out here, but one thing I have always said, if shit gets desperate, I'm not going to hang out on a corner. My ass is going to Home Depot. I'm going to hang out with the day laborers and trade some work for money, because then I'd feel a little better about it, right?
Yeah, well, I
may get run off because yeah.
You were talking about how you went and hired some day workers to remove those poisonous trees from your yard, and I told you we haven't seen that down here since 2008 when the housing bubble.
I bet you're going to see more. I bet it's going to pop up.
Well, no, because when the housing bubble burst, the people who worked those positions who weren't super great at their jobs, they all left towns, because the ones who worked those positions who are super great at their jobs, they have regular work. So you don't see them hanging out there. They're on the job sites working. So the people who are just trying to pick up odd jobs here and there because they weren't quite good enough to have a skill to be in demand, all those cats, they picked up and moved when the housing bubble popped down here back in 2008.
Yeah, a lot of people fled here too, but unfortunately they're all coming in from the west of us. But yeah, that's a different story for a way different time. If I see another Cali tag, I'm going to scream, especially when they cut me off in traffic.
Do you trust Amazon?
I trust them a little bit more than I trust the oligarchy of big tech, big social media tech.
Let me rephrase that. Do you trust the average daily delivery driver for Amazon?
I do trust them enough to use Amazon Key to get into my garage.
Really?
Yes.
Do you not have anything of value in your garage?
I do, but I've also got a big fucking security camera sitting right over my garage door looking outside.
But you're basing that directly on the fact that you think the Amazon driver would be dumb enough to steal things that particular moment. Who's to say they're not casing your shit?
So the way that works is you actually have to buy a device for your house, your garage door opener, that allows it to sync in. But it's a one-time use for that driver for that delivery.
Yeah, but that one time is all they need to peek in your garage and figure I'm coming back here on Saturday night when these fools aren't home.
So how are they going to get? I don't have windows in my garage door.
They're breaking your fucking front window, breaking your house, go through the garage, steal whatever.
I don't have a front window.
On your whole first floor of your house, you live in a minimum security prison. You don't have a single window on the first floor of your house. You have security glass.
On the front of my house, I have no windows. On the side of my house, I have 4 18 by 18 inch windows that are about 6 feet off the ground.
What rooms do you have on the front of your house? Not to get too descriptive, but it's just
I've got a garage.
So the garage is your entire face of your first floor?
Pretty much is the entire face of my first door, and then it cuts back in, and then there's a door.
Well, part of the reason that's where I keep a majority of my World War II reenacting stuff, and so that and my garage is a veritable shithole. But I'm sorry, I just don't. I would rather have the item on my front porch where my security cameras are at than having a guy pop my garage, because I have cameras on the outside of my house, but there's nothing on the inside of my garage, and I just don't want somebody opening my garage door when I'm at home.
I mean, I've heard that it only takes like 20 pounds of pressure to pop open a garage door anyway, but don't know if that's true. However, no, that's just kind of the way our house is anyway, and I
thought like you guys had the Amazon lockers like 2 blocks away.
We do.
Why not use that?
Just use. My wife's home every day. She works from home. So where the Amazon key goes up, goes down. It hasn't been a problem, man. It really hasn't. We haven't had an issue yet. We ever have an issue that will become a bigger issue.
I guess.
These guys who do the Amazon key are pretty well background checked. They've got to have a spotless record.
That's still, you're letting someone in your house willy-nilly. Someone you don't know.
They usually don't even cross the threshold. They just kind of throw it right next to where the door comes down.
Would you trust a maid and or cleaning service to come clean your house when you're at work? When neither one of you are home?
We've discussed this. And the consensus is on no.
Yeah.
I mean,
so if they want to throw shit in your garage, that's fine, but not let them come clean up shit in your house.
Well, yeah, that's because the garage door is locked. The man door into the house. I mean, I got tools in the garage.
I don't know. I don't know. Call me old fashioned, I guess.
You're skeptical, Sally. I mean, that's all right. I get it.
Well, I'm
a little too trusting of an individual.
You had your house fucking robbed. You've had your house robbed, and you're still gonna let random people open your garage door with their shit in there. Your house was robbed. Yeah. Who's to say the people who robbed your house are now delivering for Amazon, scoping places out, so then come back on the weekend and rob your shit again?
You never know. It's one of those things. It's a risk I am willing to take at this point.
I guess. Call me Scrooge McDuck. I don't know.
Scrooge McDonald Duck.
So we've all seen the videos, the TikToks of what appear to be either fake COVID fake vaccines being given on TV during interviews, or horribly mishandled. Let's see, I've seen one where the plunger's completely empty. There's nothing in there. We've all seen that one.
I'm going to give you air.
I've seen one where they look like they're using a Hollywood style, where they stick the syringe in, and when they pull the plunger out, there's no needle because it's stuck inside because the spring broke. And so the question is, why? Are they doing this because they're saying, well, the vaccine is still a low number, why waste it on, or they don't trust? I mean, why wouldn't you just take it? Why go through the charade? There's cameras around, HD cameras. This isn't 1990 where everybody's got 250 lines of resolution and they can barely make out the mustache on your face, let alone the needle from 50 feet away. Everybody's got 65-inch TVs. Some of y'all are on 4K already. The rest of us are still on 1080p. Why would you fake it? If the person that you're sending up there says, hey, I don't want this, then get another fucking person up there.
Just tinfoil hat time.
It's just
what it is. I just can't wait. I could almost put sure money on the commercials that's going to come out in about 10 years that says, did you receive a COVID vaccine from Pfizer or named company between the year 2020 and 2021? If so, you may be due compensation.
Well, what I don't get is just recently, now for the past few months, we've been hearing all the vaccines coming. Orange Man saying it'll be here for the end of the year, which it was.
And the Biden campaign did not want it to happen while he was still in office.
But now they're saying
politics.
Now
we don't want to play politics, but we're playing politics.
Now they're saying if you get the vaccination, you still got to wear your mask. You still got to abide by lockdown policies. You still
think about it. Do you know why?
Because then you'd have somebody, I had the vaccine, so I'm not wearing my mask.
Well, yeah, because then if you get the COVID in you, you won't get the COVID, but therefore you could still spread it to somebody else. Because it's not like it's going to die as soon as it hits your system. It's just going to keep you from getting sick. Your body can fight it off.
Well, it's because all they're doing
I'm not a physiologist, nor do I play one on television.
If you guys want to know what a vaccination is,
well, this one's different.
Go on Amazon. Amazon. If you have Amazon and you get the free HBO channel, go to a great show that, by the way, if you want to learn a little bit about our history and our government, watch John Adams.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great series, but back then they were dealing with smallpox. And there's some very interesting, detailed of how they used to give vaccinations back in the day. Let's just say it back then in the 1700s, it required a wagon of let's just say infected personnel, a syringe, and a dabbing stick. I'll just leave it at that. Let your imagination run wild. So we've come a long way in vaccinations, baby. So don't be afraid of the needle and the syringe, because the alternatives were a hell of a lot worse.
One of the things I've heard, and this comes from some vets, and it gives you a little bit of pause on
veterinarians or military vets?
As in the boys who've been overseas. And one of the things I've been hearing is, one of the reasons they don't trust vaccines is because
inoculations they had to get.
No, an anthrax vaccine, and then there's been some huge complications coming out of it.
Yeah, because they always had to get the inoculations and all that stuff from when they were serving overseas.
You work for the government, now you're a guinea pig.
Yeah.
There you go.
I have a new TikTok lesson of the week.
You need a stinger for this.
I do. I'm just trying to put it together here because I'm dumb.
And now D-Train's TikTok.
No, we have a stinger. You don't remember the stinger? I guess maybe because the bit's too new.
Maybe that I've slept since then.
Here we go. Volume up. Volume up. Click here.
And now for the What's in Your Head podcast TikTok lesson of the week.
I woke up this morning, I thought to myself, TikTok cannot hate me any more than it already does. So let's upset some people. Y'all ever notice that the people screaming the loudest about cultural appropriation are never part of that culture?
And this has been the What's in Your Head podcast TikTok lesson of the week.
Are we talking about those who's riddled with white guilt?
Yes, because that was at Bee's Knees. That's BEZZNEES. He is an African-American gentleman, if you couldn't tell by the voice. And he's absolutely right. It seems like the people who were raised up and going to college and believe that just because they have a certain complexion of their skin, they have the burden of white guilt, and it's them who always seem to be apologizing and sticking up for people.
So we don't want to judge a person on and I agree with it, on their ethnicity, because that's the way they were born. It's not their fault. But if you are a person of another persuasion that has been known to enslave some people and do some sketchy shit, even though you were not chosen to be born in that persuasion, you're still at fault.
Isn't it interesting? I was thinking about this the other day. So what you're telling us, single white male, well, not single, but white straight man.
Damn, you're in trouble now.
What you're telling us is that we are responsible for the actions of people that we, A, weren't alive, B, we didn't have access to and had the opportunity to try to talk them out of said decisions. That would be like me coming up to you and say, hey, Gordon, there's a guy in Cambodia right now, just robbed a bank. You're on the hook. You're like, I don't know this fucking guy. I didn't have the opportunity to talk him out of it. So, this is fucking 300 years ago. We had nothing to do with any of that stuff. But if you want to know the money involved in race baiting right now,
It's stupid.
Here's a fun game. You all Christmas shopping for the kids and the family and whatnot. If you're not doing it online, get on your mask, get on your rubber gloves, head on down to Target, go to the book section and just do a 360 in the nonfiction department. I counted 8 different books on sale at your local Target. One of them was called The Frailty of the White Person, and the subtitle is Why White People Have a Hard Time Talking About Race. But anyhow, there's like 7 or 8 books basically talking about how racist everybody is now and how horrible of a country it is. And this is in the just run-of-the-mill nonfiction section of Target. So it's big fucking money right now, and that's why everybody's trying to turn everything into fucking race-related stuff when it's not. Kind of like we were talking about the interview last week with Paul about the boxing and knocking out what's-his-nose. But anyhow, Gordon, you ready to do some news?
Yeah, let's kick it on over to the news desk.
Joining us now from the Digital 410 West News Desk in Las Vegas, Nevada, Gordon Abernathy.
Gordon, how are you doing tonight? This little inclusion of the news with Gordon is brought to you by our friends at Act Computers. Act Computers has been providing IT solutions for all of Southwest Florida since 2004. Whether you need network expansion, computer work, server rollout, server demotion, promotion, laptop repair, desktop repair, antivirus programs, online backup, 2-form authentication, and much, much more. Trying to maintain my quirky news voice, give them a call at 239-283-1120. That's right, 239-283-1120. And even if you don't live in Southwest Florida, they can help you. Once again, you need online antivirus protection, 2-form authentication, or you simply have problems, but your internet works, they can help you. That's right. Give them a call at 239-283-1120. And with your permission, via their website, they can log in your computer and help you with all of your computer issues. Give them a call at 239-283-1120 or go over to act-capecoral.com. Back to you, Gordon.
Well, you asked me how I'm doing. Well, I'm doing better than this turkey out of Somerville, Massachusetts.
I can do a chicken, but I can't do a turkey.
I can't either. No, that's a chicken.
Anyway, I can do a badass chimpanzee, but
so there,
I gotta get loud.
Check this out.
You want to hear a chimpanzee?
Go ahead.
Pretty good, huh? Bailey's gonna be like, "What the holy fuck? Come here, Bailey. I forgot you were in here. Come here." She's like, "No, dude. You're scaring
Somerville, Massachusetts. There was a wild turkey who had developed this. He's not listening. Huge online fan following, who also drew a few complaints about aggressive behavior, was euthanized last week, according to the Massachusetts wildlife officials. This turkey, who had become a fixture in Somerville neighborhood, known by some as Pat Cluck or Mayor Turkatone, has been eliminated. So an Instagram account created for the turkey, described as a classic wild turkey who enjoys kindness, not being honked at, and bringing joy to humans, again popular on media, has he's done because of his long history of aggressive behavior.
That'll learn that some bitch.
That'll learn it.
I take no gruff off no goddamn piece of poultry.
You got that right. Here's an interesting one. I've got a piece of COVID news, and I do apologize, but I don't apologize. Out of San Francisco. And this is going to go into the no shit category. What's up, puppy? Overdose deaths far outpace COVID-19 deaths in the city of San Francisco. So, from the AP, a record 621 people have died of drug overdoses in San Francisco so far this year, a staggering number that far outpaces the 173 deaths from COVID-19 the city has seen thus far. Remember we've talked about the first and second order of effects?
Mm-hmm.
This is a crippling example of that. The crisis fueled by the powerful painkiller fentanyl could have been far worse if it wasn't for nearly 3,000 times that Narcan was used from the month of January to the beginning of November, going back to our turkey story, to save someone from the brink of death, unlike the turkey. According to the San Francisco Chronicle on Saturday, the data reflects the number of times people report using Narcan to the Drug Overdose Prevention and Education Project. There's a mouthful. And a city-funded program, of course, that coordinates San Francisco's response to overdose. And as we know, overdose is not a joking matter. Just trying to be a little funny here. But the officials at the DOPE Project, yes, it is DOPE Project, said that since the numbers are self-reported, they are probably a major undercut. So last year they had self-reported 100. How do you self-report your own death? Anyway, 441
Suicide
people died
note.
of drug overdoses when you're on overdose, and 70. So it basically had a 70% increase from 18, and 2,610 potential overdoses were prevented by Narcan of that year. So, needless to say, in COVID, the overdose deaths are going up. I think we're seeing these stories, if you can ever find them, throughout the country, just showing, and that's my question. If people are locked down, they've lost their jobs, they've lost their houses, are on the verge of it, and they commit suicide or start doing drugs, and there's a death because
It's a
of it.
COVID-related death.
He did it again, caused trouble, hurt someone's feelings. Yet he didn't want to do it. Yes, troublesome people are often people in trouble. They may be mentally ill. Find out how you can help. Write Better Mental Health, Box 3000, New York 1, New York.
This is where I jump into Gordon's news with a story of my own, because we're talking about COVID. Here's a little
She's
COVID
as shiny
news.
as a seal.
Oh, she's a pretty pup. Ex-Bin Laden henchman
pretty
freed
fine.
from New Jersey prison after judge deemed him too fat for jail. Have you heard this story?
Is this like Kevin Smith's Too Fat to Fly?
Kind of. A former Osama bin Laden henchman convicted of 2 deadly 1998 bombings is freed and living with us this week in the United Kingdom after being released early, thanks to the Manhattan federal judge who agreed with terrorist was way too obese to survive the coronavirus behind bars.
Can we stop right there?
Yep.
So if anybody's ever arrested during these pandemic times, just pack on the pounds.
Well, you got to be of a certain age too.
Well, the obesity is a comorbidity, which is part of the problem. So if you pack on enough, maybe hit 600 pounds, you may be wheeled out somewhere else, huh?
Abdel Barry, 60, had spent 21 years in a New Jersey prison for his role in the 1998 Al-Qaeda bombing of 2 U.S. embassies in Africa that killed 224 people, including 12 Americans. So get this right. That's right. He bombed the United States Embassy, killed 224 people, including 12 Americans. He's been imprisoned in a New Jersey prison since 1998.
I would ask the question, he's still alive, but then again, he is in New Jersey.
The defendant's obesity and somewhat advanced age makes COVID-19 significantly more risky for him than the average person, U.S. District Judge Lewis A. Kaplan wrote in his granting of the release. Barry had been sent to be freed on October 28, but his attorneys asked that he be let out sooner. Okay, see, this is kind of misleading. They made it sound like he was freed from a life sentence because of COVID. He simply was granted early release, but I guess if you put that in the title, no one would read the article.
Well, that's the typical way the news reads these days, right?
Mr. Barry continued incarceration would significantly increase his risk of infection. I'm no longer going to read this story because it's now a moot point, because it's simply he got early release because they didn't want him to die before his release date, thus making this story from the New York Post shit. Back to you, Gordon.
How many guinea pigs is too many?
2. I got 2 in the other room. Can I interest you in some guinea pigs?
Well,
their names are Reese Cup.
Society will think that's a pretty light number.
Reese Cup, and what's the other one's name? Snickers, something.
Probably.
I don't know.
Anyway, so Portland, Oregon.
Not my pigs, not my problem.
Until the pig's on your farm. Anyway, Oregon Humane Society in Portland says it has taken in, guess.
238.2.
250 guinea pigs from one overwhelmed pet owner. Did you see this story already?
No, but I know most stores usually only sell single sex of said rodent, so this doesn't happen. But apparently this guy cross-shopped.
So it is not known how exactly the unidentified person in Lane County became inundated with furry little rodents. We can take a guess.
You don't remember that I'm a rodent purveyor from long way back? I used to have pet mice, and they blew a population in that 55-gallon aquarium when we had like 250 of them.
I may have been gone when that population blew.
Yeah.
I do remember.
I had to round up half of them.
I was fixing a breakfast one morning before school, and there was an odd odor coming from the oven, and I opened the oven, and there was a dead pet mouse inside.
Yeah, for those of you who live in Grove City in the 90s, I had to round them all up and take them to the Tea Turtle Pets and give them away, which I'm sure they were promptly sold as snake bait. But yeah, somehow I got 2 of the different sexes, and yeah, my mouse population blew up extraordinarily.
They were running in the house, weren't they? Hell, there's probably still some mice running around.
They were in a
that house.
55-gallon aquarium. I don't know how they would have gotten out, but yeah,
Anywho, so it's not known, as we said. But experts say it can be difficult to determine a guinea pig's gender. And they are best kept in pairs because one guinea pig needs another.
Most animals are packed.
Social
animals. That's why your cat and your dog will eventually get along just fine. Oregon
Humane Society spokesman Laura Klink, not to be confused with Colonel Klink, said an adoption timeline will be determined in the next several days. I don't know. Well, it is Christmas time, so it may not be so hard to offload 250 guinea pigs. We certainly would love to see some of these guys go to homes in pairs, whether it's 2 females or 2 males, of course, because then you're going to have the same problems all over again, times 1,000. But obviously, we're going to be giving a lot of counseling on how quickly they can reproduce if you get a male and female together. The Oregon Humane Society's Cat and Kitten Intake Center, a little bit different than the pigs, have been closed because of the coronavirus pandemic. So it is accommodating all of these guinea pigs because there are so many. And the society is working with the Green Hills Humane Society and Lane County Services of Eugene to look for people with kids who want guinea pigs.
Yep.
And that is really kind of all I've got for the news today.
I got one more.
And now, breaking news.
Here's how backwards things have gotten in the last 4 years. Remember when Obama was in office? Remember who the president he used to cite as being the closest to his understanding and mental process?
Is that Ronald Reagan?
No. Comes from the same state. His head's on their license plate.
Lincoln?
Yes. Now, what do we know about Lincoln?
Yeah.
Personally responsible for helping to emancipate the...
Exactly. Emancipate the slaves, right?
San Diego Morning Local News. Abraham Lincoln School may remove name because he didn't show that Black Lives Matter to him. Dateline, December 16, 2020. San Francisco.
What fucking snowflake.
San Francisco may remove President Abraham Lincoln's name from a high school because some of the district says Abraham Lincoln did not demonstrate that, quote, Black Lives mattered to him.
Wait, the guy who ended slavery, essentially, as a result of the war, who gave this great speech of 420 effing years ago, is not woke enough?
Well, some say the President Abraham Lincoln's name from the high school because, as some of the districts say, Abraham Lincoln did not demonstrate that Black Lives matter to him.
Wait a second. He demonstrated it by freeing the fucking slaves.
Whitewashing history, are you? If you didn't know, the 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln...
Whatever comes beforehand doesn't count.
If you didn't know, the 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln, abolished slavery. Lincoln was also assassinated for it. The San Francisco Chronicle reported Lincoln is one of the dozen historical features whose the city schools district renaming committee agreed led lives so rife with racism, oppression, or abuse that their names should not grace its building.
He was not woke enough that he freed the slaves and lost his life for it.
Yep. Welcome to 2020.
You don't need to fucking study his... Oh, I'm sorry. It's all whitewashed. Nothing's true.
Welcome
Anything we've ever were taught was fucking wrong.
Yeah, because to victors rewrite history, so it's it's all bullshit.
The victors, the fucking communists, and the fucking snowflakes. Now?
I know, Bebop. We're wrapping up. Hold your roll. But yeah, that's where we are in 2020. But hey, we will talk to you guys in 2021. We're going to put a fat bow on this. So drink your bourbon, smoke them if you got them, and play with your pups and this, that, and the other thing. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. John Kraft, Morgan Long, TJ Bowen and company. Hold on, Bebop. Thank you guys so much. And if you haven't done so, please head over to d-410.com or what'sinyourhead.com and click on that big, beautiful orange Patreon link and sign up. It's $1 a month, and you will help to contribute to the podcast. And if you own a business and you want to advertise on any of the podcasts on the Digital 410 Network, send us an email to info@d-410.com. You'll be surprised at how low rates are. And as always, you can find us. Just go to d-410.com, click on that social link, and you'll find all our social media pages. And remember, if you never get out of bed and never, if you never challenge yourself, you'll never get out of bed. The bourbon's kicking in, and we got to go, and Bailey's losing her fucking mind over here. So thank you guys so much, and we will talk to you. What'd you say, Gordon? The January 4th?
January 4th.
January 4th. Is the time. So we will see you all then. Thank you guys so much, and we love each and every one of you.
This has been a Digital 410 production.